Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Piyush Bajpayee from ETH, welcoming you all to the Economic Times live webinar, Enabling Your Business Continuity Plan, powered by IBM. Hope you all are safe and sound amid this COVID-19 outbreak. In these unprecedented times, when we are witnessing one of the toughest times in the human history, it is very important for every organization to have a business continuity plan in place. A rock solid business continuity plan would help us to stand tall and cope up with the current crisis. It should contain contingencies for business processes, assets, human resources, and business partners. It should also include ensuring smooth supplies and equipment, data backups, and backup site locations. Plans that can also identify plan administrators and include contact information for emergency responders, key personnel, and backup site providers. To elaborate more on the business continuity strategies, with us we have the IBM team, which includes Mr. Purushottam Murukutla, Offering Manager, Hybrid Cloud and Business Resiliency IBM, Mr. Virender Kaul, Associate Partner, GTS Consulting Services, Ramanan Chidambaram, Service Line Leader, Workplace Services, IBM, Mr. Vibhuti Rath, Cloud Technical Architect, IBM. Before I hand it over to the IBM team, I request you all to please be present till the end of the webinar. Also get your questions ready for the Q&A, as towards the end of the webinar, we will have a Q&A session as well. Also visit webinar website for detailed terms and conditions. With that, let me hand it over to Mr. Ramanan to take the webinar ahead.
Piyush, on behalf of the IBM team, we would like to thank all of you for taking out your time attending this session today. And we all understand the current situation. How do we accelerate the business continuity for ensuring that we have the flexibility and reliability in terms of the business going, and also ensuring that IT plays a very important role in terms of ensuring the users have all the given access for the application, data, infrastructure, and the business continues free flow as it used to be. And that's where, IBM always come forward to help customers in terms of ensuring that the business continuity is the utmost priority and the need of the hour for all of us today. And this half an hour or 45 minutes, this discussion which we are going to have is important for all of you to plan the business continuity plan for your organization, and how we can partner together each other to ensure that this can be implemented in your organization to ensure that the business continuity is being taken care, not only in the current COVID-19 situation, even moving forward. How do we ensure that these flexibility and reliability can be taken care to bring in net new business initiatives and benefits to your organization, which can scale up your business. Can we move to the next slide? Guru, can we move to the next slide? Yeah, thanks. So we all know what is the current situation. So we have been used to meet people, handshake, talk to each other, and in the office and even at home. The current situation is all about completely digitalized. Even the kids are having virtual classes today, virtual tuitions which are happening. My kids are stuck locked down in Chennai. I'm sitting in Bangalore. Every day I'm having the digital conversation with them. And we in IBM, we collaborate each other every day, morning half an hour, evening half an hour, to ensure that we are all together collaborate. The collaboration within the organization is very, very important and critical, because I don't think we have never faced this kind of a lockdown situation in the past. we have seen a lot of due to climatic situations and any of the other situations where like certain restrictions used to be there, but never been in the past that where we had a complete lockdown like this, where we will not be even able to meet some of our colleagues, our friends, our family members get together. Like, so the digital plays a very very critical and important role where connecting the people together, collaborate. Sorry, there is some disturbance. I request somebody. Yeah, sorry. Thanks, Abu. Uh, so I was saying that the digital collaboration and the digital innovation, which is really in the current situation, also getting the people to get connected to each other and ensuring that we are together collaborating each other. And industry leaders around the world are driving their teams forward from their attics, the basements, and the spare room. As I mentioned, we are all get together. So it's important for us to have these infrastructure in place to ensure that all the team members collaborate each other and we kind of give that the office feel good factor to everyone. Let's move to the next slide, please. Yeah. So the this is a good quote. The chance favors the prepared mind, right? So the need of for business continuity is vital now more than ever. The need of the hour, when situation arises, we all look out for two things. One, is there a medicine which can probably cure my current problem? And what about something which can able to kind of fix this problem in the near future also? So that's where we are in a global pandemic situation. One, that is, we call it as VUCA, right? The volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous situation we are in. And it's in a constant state of flux. So the pandemics require constant review of business continuity plans, and the current situation what we are in and whatever we are going to discuss is not only finding a solution to fix the current problem, and also how we are prepared ourselves for a better future tomorrow. Can we move to the next slide, please? Thanks. So we have been engaging with a lot of customers, and what we hear from the lot of our clients worldwide, it's kind of the same concerns. Clients around the world sharing some of the common concerns which we have put across over here. Our aim is to share some of the trends and ways forward that everyone can benefit from. The global pandemic, such as the COVID-19, creates unplanned stress test for businesses and their IT infrastructure. So government mandated restrictions, sudden changes to the way of working, addition of new capacity and delays in planned upgrades or migration, the new initiatives which is being planned, it's kind of like getting postponed, may impact the organization goals, the performance, their efficiency, their reliability, their the whole plan scenario is like kind of uh, going in a different direction. So organizations focus on containment of the pandemic and unavailability of staff will leave their IT infrastructure unattended and vulnerable. Hostile groups and uh, inimical interests are always on the lookout to leverage more than one attack vector at a time to exponentially increase the impact. So the disruption to IT will significantly hinder the ability of the organization to provide help and coordinate efforts within and beyond the organization, creating a far worse situation. And that is why it is very, very important and it is critical. And the need of the hour is to get our IT infrastructure right in place with the business continuity plans to ensure that our internal employees, our customers, and our business is being well protected. Not only now, as I mentioned, let's prepare ourselves for any of the future these kind of challenges which may encounter in future as well. They need innovative approaches to epidemic response, including workforce enablement, network readiness to support remote workers, communication and collaborate within each other, within the organization, with your customers, business continuity plan, incident response, and business recovery. So in today's discussion, we would probably talk about most of these elements and which is going to help your organization to have a proper business continuity plan in place. Next slide, please. Yeah, so the two themes which we are going to talk about, as I mentioned, one, the business continuity, which is a need of the hour for us to get things going today, and the new ways of working, which is going to help your organization overcome any of these kind of situation in future, and also get prepared for the net new business initiative for your organization that is going to help your internal employees, your customers, feel more happy, and the kind of flexibility and reliability the IT can bring to your business and the organization. So that's what the two things which we are going to discuss today. If we can go to the next slide. Right. So the business continuity, it's kind of it has to be designed to strengthen the business continuity planning for more reliability, and which we discussed. We have not seen a health crisis of this scale in the past. Right? Everybody, for all of us, it is new, and this crisis challenges existing business continuity methods, whatever it has been there already in place, and in a new environment marketed by remote working and supply chain disruptions. All the the movement is being completely halted. No export import is happening within the city, within the state. There is absolutely no movement. So we're focusing on processes and resources alone will not suffice. This is unprecedented in nature, and we have no experience to draw upon. In many ways, organizations are in uncharted waters. Given these challenges, we need to rethink our business continuity approach. Any IT disruption is to be avoided, as firms are already uh, like you know uh, staring at the business impact and turmoil. We all know the current situation, the financial impact and the business impacts, and the whole world is going through. And technology is key here and can make definitely help us manage the unforeseen, the risks, and minimize disruptions. So let's kind of um, uh, invite some of my colleagues who is going to share more information in terms of how do we get this business continuity plan implemented for your organization and how IBM can partner with you. Where?
Yeah, so thanks, Ramanan. Okay, so I'm
Okay,
Purushottam,
thanks,
so I
Raman.
handle the offering management. Yeah, I handle offering management for hybrid cloud and resiliency. Um, uh, uh, so basically, the business continuity, we have a strong framework because of, we have been engaging with multiple customers, and we have uh, decades of experience in creating various frameworks to make sure your business is continuous, and the you have a proper disaster recovery and data recovery capabilities in the organization. Okay. Um, so so uh, so basically, we have created a bunch of offerings. So what are the offerings is, uh, if you want a solution, and these offerings will become a block by block will create a solution. So now, with this COVID-19 situation, so all of us are thinking about four things. See, one is uh, readiness, quickness, and resiliency, and security. Right. So basically, this the COVID-19 situation is really testing our organizational capabilities, how ready we are for a disaster like this, whether we'll be able to continue our businesses even in case of these kind of disasters, okay? And how quickly we'll be able to respond, okay, to a disaster, right? And how resilient is our businesses, how resilient is our IT infrastructure, how resilient is our application architecture, right? And the last one is how secure they are, because now we are opening up multiple avenues for the hackers to attack, right? We are all working from home, so we are outside the corporate network, right? So there are fair chances that the hackers will exploit the situation, and they can create disruptions to the overall business. Okay, so now on this slide I would like to discuss four things. One is the business continuity best practices, right? Second one is how you can leverage our offerings on disaster recovery and archiving on using IBM Cloud. And the third one is cyber recovery. It is a combination of security as well as the data protection and data retrieval solution. Okay, so that your data is completely protected. So the underlying fact is that it's basically a data resiliency solution. Okay, so your data will always be there in a secured environment. Okay, and the fourth one is the incident response incident services. Okay, the first one, the business continuity best practices, is basically we have a strong consult team based in India and as well as across the globe. Okay, so these are very seasoned professionals with decades of experience in advising our end customers on the readiness of the business continuity as well as the resiliency of the overall IT infrastructure, ranging from the facility infrastructure till the application. Okay, so we would like to invest time with our customers, and we have been doing that, and we have internally developed so many tools based on our experience, and we will leverage that kind of expertise to provide advisory services such as doing an assessment, for the readiness, okay, disaster readiness, and also how to, and we will give you advice on how to make sure that the business is continuous, right? So this will activities include multiple things. One is assessment, of course, and we'll run multiple tools in the environment, and we will involve all the key stakeholders, and we basically understand what are their existing pain points and what are their objectives, long term and short term, and we propose an assessment report. So that will be your starting point to create a solution, disaster recovery business continuity solution, right? So now after that, DR and archiving on IBM Cloud. So a lot of customers now, they are coming, they don't have any, they didn't had any plans to have a disaster recovery. Maybe they are thinking that because my organization doesn't require, because the business is not that much critical. Okay, or they may be thinking that, okay, so my DR solution will be expensive for me. As of now, I can ignore or postpone for some more years, right? So for these kind of customers, it is basically a low-cost, DR solution we are bringing up, and this will be on IBM Cloud. Okay, so it is a simple solution where you just take the backups at your on-prem data center or wherever, and then just put those backups to IBM Cloud, right? And then we will keep the data there, and as and when the disaster occurs, then we will make this data available, and you can put it on these on IBM virtual machines on IBM Cloud and make your DR up and running. Okay, so the unique advantage here is because in most of the enterprise customers are on VMware. Okay, and IBM as a unique value proposition, IBM Cloud provides two service variants predominantly. One is IBM Public Cloud, which is virtual server instances, just like any other public cloud. And the second service variant is we provide bare metal servers on IBM Cloud. So which is where most of the enterprises choose IBM Cloud as their preferred cloud, because it will give a lot of flexibility for them, to create an environment that is exact replica of their primary data center. Okay. For example, you have a VMware environment. Yes, you can create a same replica of VMware environment on IBM Cloud. If you have Hyper-V, you can create it. And you have a Red Hat virtualization or any other virtualization for that matter, you can create the same. Okay. And secondly, it gives more flexibility to especially the enterprise customers. If they have any license agreement, they can leverage on IBM Cloud. They can bring their own licenses. Whereas on other clouds, you have to consume licenses from the software, the catalog itself. So that is the advantage, right? So here, the unique value proposition for this offering is, yes, you are storing all your backups in the native format. We'll give a solution for that. And secondly, as and when the DR occurs, we can immediately run a bare metal server with VMware and just mount your backup data onto the virtual machines, and your DR will be up, right? So it will be a low-cost solution, on-demand solution, right? There is the spend is always predictable, only for disaster events or whenever you want to conduct a DR drill. Only when you will spend a few more dollars for the compute part, else it is it's always predictable, right? Now I'm coming to cyber recovery as a service, so which is basically a service. It is not a security service, but it is a data resiliency service, right? So which means that your production data is always protected. Okay, so even in case of malware, for example, you have a production data center and there is a malware attack, and you are taking the backups. So the malware will go to your storage, and from the storage, if you are taking a backup, and then it will go to the backup also. So the moment you are planning to restore the data, okay, then your malware also will get restored. Okay, so how to eliminate that? So we will give a solution where your data will be behind a data network, so that the malware will not be able to enter the warm storage. What we call is read once and write once and read many times, right? So no attack can, or even the admin can delete the data from the storage. You can just write one more copy, okay, but you can't delete the data, or you can't change the data. And secondly, it is not in the production or the data center network. It is completely isolated always, right? So this is a combined solution where we will isolate your golden copy from the rest of the IT infrastructure. So as and when you feel that, okay, there is a malware attack, I need to have a clean copy, you can restore the clean copy from the solution. Okay, that is so a golden copy or pure clean copy is always available for you. Okay, the second advantage is that so whenever there is so that the tool or the solution continuously check the anomalies in the data. Okay, which means that whenever you are planning to write the data to the warm storage, so there is a forensic analysis being done, and in case of any anomalies, it will just give an alert so that we can take an appropriate action. So we can just analyze manually whether the correct data is getting replicated to the warm storage or not, right? So that is the solution. And the third unique advantage is that it will support point-in-time recovery. For example, you realize that the data got corrupted, right? But immediately you have to retrieve the data to make sure that your end users are not getting affected. Okay. So now you can't, if you try to restore the entire data, it will not find, even though it's a LAN. Okay. So the point-in-time recovery, which means that, okay, so from whatever the date, whatever the time. Okay. For example, now we are in April month of 2020. You want to retrieve the data or restores the data from 15th October onwards till now, from 15th October till 15 p.m. And this is possible, right? So that your end users are not getting impacted, right? Slowly you can retrieve the other data as well, but as a to respond to the incident very quickly, yes, you can use this feature of point in time recovery. The last one is the IBM X-Force Incident Response and Intelligence Services, where it is a completely perimeter security service, where we provide intelligence services, incident response and practice services, and remediation services, right? So the initial one is incident response and practice service. So basically, we'll continuously monitor, right? Proactively monitor your IT infrastructure, and we respond to the threats and incidents across all the endpoints. So just to give you an insight that this offering will cover all the workloads ranging from mainframes till the data center infrastructure, current data center infrastructure, until the endpoint. That is the unique value, where IBM will take care of or rather provide service from end to end, from data center infrastructure, including legacy infrastructure, till the endpoints, right? And now in this intelligence services, we'll provide detailed threat analysis. So we'll make sure that from where these threats are coming, how they're coming, how to block them. Okay. And in the remediation services, we develop the capabilities based on the threats, or rather the incidents that have occurred earlier. Okay, we will make sure that the organization is ready to face those kind of threats. Means to make sure that your infrastructure is completely safe. So now the next slide is next slide is basically remote delivery services. So most of delivery centers in India, and all these delivery centers, especially for the Indian companies, are delivered from India, and also because these are global delivery centers, right? And we provide services ranging from the, as I said earlier, the legacy infrastructure till the endpoints. Okay, so not only for the data center infrastructure, but also for the end user services. So this including the legacy infrastructure, current data center infrastructure, public clouds, and all endpoint services. So just to summarize that, what we discussed is basically these are the various offerings we have. Okay, and all these offerings are tested in IBM Labs, which means that we are using multiple tools under as a part of the offerings. So all these tools have been tested for those kind of environments, and then we created these services blocks where it is immediately available for the consumption. So there is a standard set of SLAs are available, there is standard SOWs are available, right? And there are standard rate cards available. So basically, the services are ready for consumption, right? So with that, I'll hand it over, the end user computing services part to Mr. Ramana.
Thanks, Puru. So the next point is how do we get the end users get the different the freedom of access, how reliable which we can able to ensure that the end users have the freedom of access to all these applications, the data center and the data. So there are multiple ways at which IBM is mobilizing to assist, and the one is the device requirement and deployment. I will kind of double click what exactly which we do on this is it's kind of we take turnkey projects, and we have been offering these services to a lot of our customers, where we not only require the required devices, but also ensure the right set of technologies to enroll these devices. It's called a zero touch, where the users, when they get their devices, they touch it and they start accessing all their applications in the most secure manner, and it's all completely controlled. Because the device itself is an enrollment and a kind of necessary device management solution, everything we bring in over there. The second one is the workplace virtualization services. I will just talk about that in a while, where we have developed a complete desktop as a service on the IBM cloud, and that is something need of our solution for many customers. And we have other solutions like the unified communication, the collaboration as a service, the virtual contact center, and multiple other solutions. This is going to help in terms of ensuring the end users from whichever the devices or the kind of connectivity which they have a seamless and secure access to their applications and data which is residing in the data center. Can we move to the next slide, please? Yeah, so we help customers enabling the remote collaboration, whatever we are currently doing today, making use of the WebEx. We have been collaborating. There are multiple solutions available. We help customers in terms of integrating across to their existing infrastructure or enabling these through the reliable network and the collaboration tools. Can we go to the next slide? And the next services is all about the unified communication and the collaboration as a service. It's a globally available offering, which provides a complete cloud-based as a service consumption model for unified communication. Our service provides all the tools an organization needs to communicate and collaborate at one or many sites. We remove the aging on-prem based hardware PBX and the old traditional methodology of doing things, and it's completely a software based, and it's on the cloud, and we are offering this as a service to ensure that we provide more reliable and consistent user experience across all the users in any location. We move to the next slide. And the next service is, as I explained, it's more about the deploying devices and ensuring that so we have a mechanism in place where the end user can pick and choose whichever the kind of devices which he's looking at, and which will be delivered across and enrolling the devices, and it's like a zero touch where the new user employee joining on board, and we will have a URL with the username password, wherein we can be able to just get all the applications access, and there without any intervention of IT deploying or publishing. It's like a self-service model or methodology kind of a technology, and the entire solution which we have been offering to our customers on a managed services offering. We can move to the next slide. So the next one is all about the same thing which I talked about in terms of what is the step-by-step. So we have the device procurement, the fulfillment, the shipment, and the zero-touch deployment using bringing in multiple technologies, and giving it as a service to the end users. We can move to the next slide. So the DaaS on the IBM cloud, which I mentioned, it's a complete full suited virtual desktop infrastructure hosted on IBM cloud. So we are partnered with both the industry leaders like VMware and Citrix, and the entire compute is on the IBM cloud. So as most of you are familiar, the virtualization is the way to go in not only in these kind of scenarios, and also to look at the kind of net new business initiatives and good amount of the flexibility which can be extended to your employees. While we are talking about the flexibility in terms of any device from any network, at the same time the kind of enterprise level security control which is required, and that's exactly all put together is what we have designed this solution, and it is a completely dedicated customized infrastructure which will be extended to your organization, and at a very predictable and per user subscription cost is what we are offering to our customers. We can go to the next slide. Right, the contact center, it's like a virtual contact center. So it's a global offering for us. It's a cloud-based service consumption model for contact center infrastructure. So our services provides the communication and social tools required for contact center agents with a variety of responsibilities to communicate and support their end customers with speed and agility to enhance customer satisfaction and reduce transaction time. So that's the contact center services which we have. So we have the very different solutions. One is to collaborate, and another one is to to manage device and the complete deployment of those devices, and the complete full suite virtual desktop on the IBM cloud, which is available, and the contact center as a services. This all put together is some kind of taking care of the business continuity. Yeah, we can move to the next slide, Bhuti. Yeah, you can take over, Bhuti.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bhuti. I'm a architect with IBM Cloud. From next few minutes about IBM and what as well as how it can help for remote workers, and especially workers who are working in different places and different offices, or maybe in these scenarios, home. Now, in the next slide, if I go to the next one, Puru, why you need Aspera? What does Aspera do for you? When you talk about Aspera, it's a software that helps you do data transfer from one place to another place over internet through a very high speed mechanism. For example, if you are doing a data transfer from one place to another place over a particular line, say for example, if it is internet or your any local LAN or WAN, on the same network, the kind of data transfer that you get using Aspera, you'd get a minimum 20 times faster data transfer rate in comparison to a normal data transfer. How it does? Aspera has a patented encryption mechanism that it uses to do data transfer from one place to another in a very fast way. Now, when you talk about data transfer, what are the benchmarks? I mean, how do you compare with normal data transfer? Can you go to the next slide? Okay, so here are some of the benchmarks that we did. So over a legacy transport network, which is maybe it is an internet or it is a WAN through your office network, when you do a data transfer within one particular continent, say for example, it is within US region, to transfer to a 10 GB file, it takes around 10 to 20 hours. Now, similarly, if you transfer that cross-continent, for example, from US to Europe, it takes around 15 to 20 hours, depending on the speed that you have. Similarly, from US to Asia, it becomes impossible to do the data transfer of a 10 GB file using normal internet or even a WAN network. And that becomes expensive also, because when you talk about internet or WAN across continent, it is going to charge you a lot. Now, how much Aspera benefits you? So if you use Aspera on the same network, which is if you want to transfer a 10 GB of file with 100 Mbps network speed over internet or your LAN or a WAN across US, which is within the US continent, it will take 14 minutes. So it's 14 minutes. Now imagine the difference between 10 to 20 hours and 14 minutes. Now similarly, if you look at doing a data transfer over US to Asia, which was impractical in normal scenarios, now you can do the same thing within 14 minutes. Now, so that is the kind of data transfer it gets. Now, how this particular thing is relevant to the current scenario. When you talk about people working from home and talking about data transfers, how does this benefit you? Now, as remote users, I was recently working with a customer based out of Mumbai, which is Studio. What they do is they do animation movies. They create animation movies, they create animation content, they create animation television serials. So for kids on uh, different cartoon channels, you get a lot of daily soap serial that they uh, produce or and they create. Now, those users in current scenario, their employees who work on those animation videos, work on those animation uh, frameworks, uh, they don't come to office anymore. Now, when you are working on an animation file, that file can be huge, and that file needs to be transferred across multiple users as well. For example, if the editor is editing something, it will send it to another user who's going to add some modification, add some graphics, will do some VFX. So there are different people working on that particular animation video on different parts and sitting in different uh, part of the country also. Now, when they share that particular file, so traditionally before COVID happened, they all used to come to office. They used to have a file share. They used to download work and upload to the file share and work on it, go home. It is very straightforward. But the moment COVID happened, they started working from home. It became very difficult for them to get that file access from home. Now they tried a lot of mechanisms. They tried to do a file server. When a lot of people tried to get into that file server, it became slow. They had to increase the capacity of file server, and they wanted to add another file server. But looking at the current scenario, getting server procured is also a challenge. So they are struggling with that, and then reached out to us in terms of, do we have any mechanism that we can use to get this particular problem uh, fixed. So we suggested them, why don't you try Aspera? And they used, I just gave them a demo of Aspera, and within 2 minutes, he said, this is exactly what is going to help me and my employees to work on the animation videos. Now, so those are the simple use cases that you can use to relate to Aspera's capabilities. And this is just one of the use cases there. There might be a lot of use cases as well. Now, if, if you, Puru, if you could go to the next slide. Now, what we are doing in looking at the current scenario, we are providing you Aspera uh, free of cost for 1 TB of data transfer over 90 days that you can try out, which means you go to Aspera site or just click on Google and type Aspera free trial. It will give you 90 days trial of 1 terabyte of data transfer, which you can do on a SaaS-based model, which means you don't have to set up any software, you don't have to install any server, you don't have to configure anything. You just go to the SaaS site, sign up with your email address, and if you sign up within 30th of April, you get 90 days of trial without any charge, and you get to choose 1 TB of data transfer from one place to another place, and then you also get 1 terabyte of storage and 10 terabytes of egress. If you look at cloud, egress is also charged. Now for 10 terabytes, we're not charging you egress in those 90 days, which means your users can do fast data transfer up to 1 TB up to 90 days without any charges. And that's a benefit you can straight away start with. So with this, I'll hand it back to my colleague Virender to talk more about COVID-19 benefits that we provide. Yeah, Virender, up to you.
The next slide, Puru.
Yeah, it's done, Virender. I think there is some lag because of the bandwidth.
Oh, okay. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Virender, Virender Kaul. I'm the associate partner for consulting services in IBM. What I wanted to, I know that, most of my speakers, colleagues have spoken about, the services that IBM could render in such a crisis, right? So I probably will not take a couple of minutes where I will try to summarize, what are we talking today from IBM standpoint. So we are feeling that there's a strong need of business continuity, which has become very vital and a necessity more than ever before. And people are looking at different approaches, innovative rather, to epidemic response, including workforce enablement, network readiness to support remote working, communication and collaboration, business continuity plans, instant response, and business recovery. Now, what IBM in such a situation, has helped, many of the customers is two ways. One is the short term and the long term. Short term is basically, taking expert advice where we understand the gaps and de-risk your IT, which means that we need to understand your level of readiness, preparedness, and then, respond quickly what can be done. And probably that could result into a small or a miniature business continuity plan. And also look at the areas, because there could be some kind of a preparedness one way or the other. To understand, there are organizations in different readiness levels. Some people have something, but then they're still struggling because of this, crisis situation. And there are some people who do not have, and there are some people who never felt the need to implement BCP in their organization. In all of these cases, one way or the other, probably there will be some, amount of technical infrastructure readiness or something of that sort, where we will have to look at what potentially could be strengthened or built further to, build further business continuity with the right tools, the technology and the skills to address this crisis. That's another point. Another thing is that those of the organizations who have implemented IT service continuity plans, they may probably have to recheck their DR run books. Are they really updated? Are they consumable? And look at also the resiliency strategy, which has to be upfront and center in mitigating the risk across the IT, be it on-prem or be it on the cloud, right? Which means that, my colleague spoke about it, is like we need to really think of quickly moving beyond manual, people-dependent processes and switch to automation and orchestration to reduce the complexity. And probably also look at cloud-based backups that offers immense benefits in terms of vis-a-vis the traditional tape-based backup solution, because that requires dedicated resources, people, and has got its own limitations as well. And the other plan that IBM offers is also to prepare as an ongoing initiative is a BCP plan for the entire enterprise, wherein which IBM helps you to look at the mappings right from the top, from business services all the way to business functions, the processes and its application landscape and the supporting infrastructure. And also look at if there are some organizations who have already implemented risk assessments, maybe based on the assets, service-based risk assessment, and conduct a detailed business impact analysis, thereby creating a risk and outage tolerance profile. And also very important, looking at the current crisis, people typically don't pay so much of attention to the threat analysis, which is very, very pivotal here, primarily because it talks about the environmental hazards or the factors that could probably pose significant impact or risk to the organization and the business operation. And at the same time, it also becomes important and relevant to also look at the kind of reputational impact that could be caused because of the crisis to the brand, to the image, and also overall as a reputation. And in all of this, you will also have to kind of look at how is architecture going to look like when I'm going to build BCP for the enterprise, right? So there has to be a technical recovery architecture from a business continuity, because not only the infrastructure is going to be covered, but it is going to be extended to the business functions as well, in order to make sure that serves the purpose, considering the scenarios that you will have to look at, be it the exposures of the risk, and basis which you develop the right kind of BCP plan and also the strategy going forward. I'm going to pause here. I'm going to move to the next slide where there are some questions. Puru, can you please move to the next slide? So how relevant is there's a question that you can ask yourself in terms of readiness, where you stand as of today. That will give you some sense of what kind of work that you need to do quickly now and also on an ongoing basis, right? Probably I'll kind of stop here. The questions are quite, easy to understand. Maybe we can now probably leave the floor for questions, for Q&A.
Thank you all for great insights you've shared today. So I've been receiving a lot of queries. So one of the query, I mean, the most interesting one that you shared that the first 90-day period is free. So people are curious to ask that after 90 days period, what will be the cost and charges? Anyone who would like to take this?
Vibhuti, you want to take it up?
Yeah, sure. So we'll talk about Aspera. For 90 days, there are no charges for 1 TB, but once you go out of 90 days, the per GB charges are mentioned. If you look at in Indian rupees, per GB transfers is around 65 rupees was what we charge. So after 1 TB, if you consume more, will charge 65 rupees for GB of data transfer.
Thanks, Vibhuti. The next question is, basis DR solution on cloud is real-time solution. If so, what is the data loss compared to the primary?
Purushottam, you want to address this?
Yeah. So can you repeat the question? There is some interruption.
Yeah. So the question is, basis DR solution on cloud is real-time solution.
Yeah.
If so, what is the data loss
Yeah.
compared to the primary?
Okay. So the data loss depends upon the kind of solution you create. So obviously, as I told earlier, it's a low-cost solution, right? And it is suitable for customers with requirement of about RPO around 15 minutes and something like that. But if you have stringent RPO requirements, for example, near zero or something like that, then we need to look for an alternative solutions. But from the data loss point of view, I don't think any issue with the data loss. Maybe if you are asking about data loss in terms of RPO, yes, 15 minutes you can consider for this solution.
Thanks for the answer. Now the next question is,
Sorry?
will IBM be able to help in implementing the solution if the client organization
Your voice is not very audible. Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah. So the question is, will IBM be able to help in implementing the solution if the client organization have a lean IT team or expertise?
Absolutely. We definitely can do it, and we have done for many organizations, and we are ready to help.
Okay. So Dharma, can you unmute Surya Subramaniam? I think he has some queries. Surya Subramaniam. Dharma, have you unmuted him?
No.
Who's that? Surya Subramaniam.
Please go ahead.
Sanjay Kumar.
Hello. Yeah, am I audible?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so
Yes, Surya. Yeah.
Yeah.
you can go ahead.
Hello. Good evening. Yeah. So considering the current situation with a lot of business getting disrupted, so companies are looking for new partners or vendors who can help the companies to cope up with the situation. So at the same time, there are vendors who are taking advantage of this situation and can cause a lot of threat to companies. So in order to have a continuous business in place, how can companies avoid compromising on their current process and mitigate such threats?
Thank you, Surya.
Do you want to answer that, or?
Okay, I can probably take
Yeah,
it
you
up.
please take that, Virender.
Like,
Okay.
little bit probably
Yeah.
you can add more.
Yeah, yeah.
right? So one of the key important thing with the current situation, like when the business getting impacted and lockdown kind of environment we are all in today, the first thing is the finance impact is really huge. Finance is a base, and that's the most important thing for running any business, any organization, right? So it is time for organizations to think on, we should, like, how we can engage on a business partnership model with organizations who is kind of like going to work on a partnership model rather than just selling something and just implementing and kind of that's where I think IBM has been recognized as one of the leading managed service provider for various organizations across different industry segments. We can give you tons of names where we partner with them, right? Every single technology adoption, we don't sell to them, we partner with them. And the way at which we kind of do the complete service manageability, and the kind of the way at which we do the pricing structure is what customer appreciate, and that's the model I think organizations to should adopt looking forward.
So, Ramanan, just to add, if you look at IBM strategically, they become the trusted partner and advisor to customers, irrespective of the size, nature, and the type of the business they are in. And moreover, what happens here is that it's not about the crisis. IBM has been engaging with the customers prior to the crisis. Now it has become a need where people don't have the business continuity plans. So we're helping them with some ready-made assessments, ready-made offerings that could really help them to get out of this crisis. That's number one. And number two, we handhold them on an ongoing basis throughout the journey, in terms of making sure that they are safeguarded, their interests are protected, their assets are protected, and they are able to run their business given that this scenario they are in, and they come out once it gets normalized. So IBM is a partner, a preferred partner of choice for every organization, wherever we become essentially the trusted partner and the advisor for them.
Thanks, Virendra. Dharma, can you unmute Sanjay Kumar? I think he also has some a question. Please unmute Sanjay Kumar. Yes, Sanjay, please go ahead with the question. We can hear you.
Hi, all the panels. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Hope you are also good.
Yes. We are fighting the COVID-19 crisis, and all are working from home. And we come from the training and IT infrastructure, and we work on other part of sourcing. Everything under stop now. Everything is under crunch now. I wanted to know, how do we fight on this part of momentum? How do we come across? How do we battle this at this point of a crisis? Because everything is getting slowed down, and network bandwidth is also going to hit on part of support, and it's going to crash and work from home. Some WebEx we cannot use, the bandwidth choke though. So using Aspera, can you give me more insight on this part of things?
Yeah, Vibhuti, can you answer that?
Yeah, sure. So, Sanjay, in fact, unfortunately, that's the reality that we are facing today. It's not just you. Each one of us are facing that particular problem. So, in comparison to when we talk about Aspera automatically adjusts to the bandwidth it has, and of course, it will take a lot of bandwidth if you don't control it. So you always have the control to control Aspera bandwidth, and you can log into the console and define how much bandwidth you want Aspera to use. So that it doesn't choke your bandwidth. And then you can schedule the transfer during off hours, for example, in the night hours, where you can give it full bandwidth, but in the daytimes you can control, say, for example, okay, Aspera will not take more than 5 Mbps of my broadband or of my internet bandwidth. So these measures.
Sorry to interrupt you in between. When we talk about support on network, and when techies work on multiple applications on support, this is going to hit a big time high. The priority escalations and other things is going to hit the network. We are working on routing and switching because we work on a different product. I come from network security and other background, right? The thing is, the challenge, the crisis, in this crisis, how will we manage things? This has been a big challenge. Work
Can you
from
just
home is one
name a
option.
few of the challenge? Can you just name the few of the challenges that you're facing? Like on
I'm
top of
talking
your
about
mind, two challenges.
work from home option. Like, see, we are the training partners, and we do training on the Cisco routing and switching. We outsource, and we are into a small scale business where we do outsourcing on other platforms as well. But the thing is, how will we support on these big platforms when we talk about migration, implementation? This is going to slow down everything. The current scenario.
Yeah, it will of course slow down the way we work on day-to-day basis. It will not be normal, and uh, that's what we are trying to do so that we
And this
can
is also
help.
impacting the business a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Not just your business. There is every one of us are getting affected. Uh,
Correct.
you, me, everyone. So it's
Correct.
a challenge that we never faced, and
Yes.
we
But
try
when
to adopt to this particular
so
challenge.
we need to have a forum like this. What we are doing on online forum is absolutely really welcome and much appreciated. We need to have a forum where we connect, and so that the business doesn't get affected, and so that all we need to get the startups also interconnected, the vendors and other things, get into it,
Exactly. So that's right. So that's
because
the
we
whole
have
idea,
lot
so
of
that we
potential.
can.
The potential is not been getting derived properly. A lot of potential is there, but it has not been utilized.
So, Sanjay, just to add what Vibhuti said, right? What you also voiced out, right?
Correct.
Though there is a crisis, we do understand, and we also understand the sensitivity of it. But at the same time, IBM can definitely be of ready help. So what you need to do, I can give you some of the experiences that I had with the customers, across South, where essentially, first, what you need to do is identify the most critical areas that would probably need the continuity, right? That's number one. Number two is you need to also de-risk your infrastructure, essentially where predominantly the dependency of the organization lies, right? Third is about figuring out what are the levers that you could leverage, considering that there is a good amount of or a reasonable amount of work done on the ground so that you could still further strengthen it. Third is that is there a possibility or an option where you could look cloud option because they typically are completely automated and orchestrated. So there's a little bit of requirement of the resources on site, right? So that way, what happens is you can look at the various options from IBM, what we have tabled today in the call, and see what is the best fit for you. And we are there to help, making sure that you get out of this crisis, at least be in a position to deliver the services to your customers the way you used to do prior to the crisis.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Thanks, Mr. Cole. Thanks, Sanjay, for the question. I mean, so proceeding ahead, what I would like to hear from all my speakers, what will be your key takeaway for today's webinar so that the audience go back with? So I would like to start with Ramanan. Ramanan, what will be the key takeaway from your side on this webinar so that the audience can go back with?
Yeah, so the challenges are inevitable. Like, we have to face it, and there are solutions, and that's what we have spoken. Whichever the one which is going to kind of solve your current crisis problems for your organization to come out, the sooner the possible we all have to come out and focus on our regular work, and that's where we will get a faster stability on towards our business and the financial stability as well, which is going to get things back in action soon as possible. So please do reach out to us, and we are here to partner and help bringing in any technology which is going to help your organization.
Thanks, Ramanan. Thanks, Ramanan.
Thank
Now,
you.
I would like to take this question to Puru, that what will be from your side, what will be the key takeaway for the audience today?
Yeah. So basically, I would like to tell four things, right? One is your readiness for these kind of events, and how quick you will be able to respond, and how resilient you are, and how secure you are. So these are the four things we have to keep in mind. So because we are all come from IT industry, and so unless, for example, the WebEx we have is a lifesaver for us, all of us, right? So
Yeah.
earlier we were using it only occasionally, but now it has became a BAU for us, right? So
Yeah.
these are the four things we have to keep in mind, and we need to make sure that we respond to these kind of events in future.
Sure. Thanks, Guru. Now I will go to Vibhuti for the same query. What would be from your side the key takeaway for the audience?
Yeah, so the two primary takeaways are identify the resources that are available. If you look at the current scenario, just like IBM is providing a lot of services, a lot of benefits for free. Similarly, there are a lot of other companies providing the same thing. So identify what suits best for you and what addresses your key concerns. Then use them wisely. The way we are trying to help you across, we are also taking help from others. So it is a time where you can help each other and learn from each other's problems that we are facing on these unprecedented times. Yeah, so that's all we have.
Thanks, Mr. Rep. Now I would go to Mr. Kaul for the same. Mr. Kaul, from your side, the key takeaways for today's webinar.
I think I will probably summarize in four themes, right? I would say people, start looking at these four themes. One is relate, reflect, renew, and realize. So what I mean by that is, in nutshell, is that probably identify the most critical impact areas, look at what are the skills, what are the resources that are required, and also look at how do you de-risk your infrastructure so that you could still continue your operation, be it resources working from home, number one. Number two is also look at what are the tools or technologies that could be leveraged in order to strengthen the capabilities in order to address the current crisis. Number three is also to create some kind of a plan, which may be maybe a couple of rounds in the entire BCP plan, but create a miniature plan so that you have a visibility and a transparency across how are you going to handle this crisis and how you're going to come out of this crisis. I think that I will probably park here because that's the realization part when they know that things are working for them. And then IBM anyway has on Splatter certain free offers. Please leverage them heavily and also reach out to us for any help. We are there to help.
Thanks, Mr. Kaul, for amazingly summarizing the whole webinar in just 2 minutes. As we wrap up this session today, it's been an amazing webinar, amazing speakers, and the audience who is still with us listening to the webinar. As we've already crossed the timeline of the webinar, so it all says that it's been need of the hour. So thank you for all joining in. For any feedback, query, you can write it to me at piyush.bajpayee@timesgroup.com. You can also find it on the chat window. Last but not the least, please take care, stay indoors as the government is saying, stay indoors and stay safe. Thank you again for joining the live webinar, the Economic Times live webinar powered by IBM. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.